okay?
I want the taco bowl with lettuce and celery.
Okay, I make you.
There's
This is taco and soda?
a
Okay.
beautiful day, glorious day.
Because I have a customer. Please.
Things that, yes, I'm
All right.
thankful for.
So this one taco, two tacos?
No problem. Usual favor.
Two tacos?
So-
Okay. All right.
Let's switch.
All right. So you have to wait over there. Please.
Good morning.
We have the customer inside.
It's the epic
All
meal
right.
day.
And the soda?
You want magazine?
No, I don't want
We're
it.
taking
I
baths,
cooking.
having breakfast.
All right.
We had machaca,
So I made it
Beans
some
and hash
tacos or the burrito.
flour tortillas, coffee, orange juice.
Burrito's okay?
Have some water.
Spinach beef.
What?
Spinach beef.
Beans? All right, you wait over
No.
there. I'm with you. Okay? Please. Please. Because I have a customer inside.
Which chair, Daddy?
Whenever you like, over there. Over there. Please. The customer come and see you right here.
Right. You will understand it, right?
Yeah, but it's just for the customer.
So,
Sour cream, cheese, and rice.
Yeah, over there.
I like the veggies. I like that type.
All right, take it for you. Veggies and chicken. Right? Good?
so we have a lot to talk about today.
You buy me, I will take it.
That's all right, it's okay.
You will.
Lisa, I'll give it to you and this way over there.
Free guava.
All right?
And who do we have? Oh, Barbara.
All right.
Welcome. Barbara Jenny. Welcome. Thumbs up. We have a lot to talk about today. And number 3 is kind of an important one for me.
We have 3 magnets. We haven't
And
read.
here we are again.
We're trying to get
First of all, Tuesday's coming up. Vote. Vote against me. Vote with me. Just vote. We didn't miss much. We just started. Just vote. Get out and vote. This is an important election. Actually, every election is present. I have a stern philosophy, and it's even sterner now these days, that if you don't vote, I don't want to hear what you have to say about the president or anybody else, or anything else. You didn't participate. You're not willing to participate. You have no opinion. You prove to me that you have no opinion. So, vote. Mailed in. Good for you, Barbara. I'm for voter ID. I'm for a little bit limited on this mail-in stuff, but I can understand it in situations, especially in a lot of situations, military and whatnot. But early voting is like, this gives you a few more days or weeks to vote as often as you want. Anyways, let's get down to I agree with you, no vote, keep your mouth shut. You damn right, Barbara, you are damn right. But today, let's get into something I've been into this week. As you, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm a big fan of YouTube. I have 1 or 2 YouTube channels. I have a Dave Besaw, and I have a Epic Beard and Dave channel. If you want to check those out, I've dug up some old Go Live videos and posted them on there, and I'll be posting this one to there. But I watch a lot of things. I was watching a lot of machine shop stuff and car stuff and a little motorcycle stuff, and I watch a lot of I catch glimpses of old races or races that I can't get to, like the Isle of Man. There's some great videos. People have done some wonderful things. They're very, very creative with some of it in the music to show clips and try to instill something about it. And I'll give you something to ponder. I asked a friend of mine, and he never replied back. But I asked him. It was on a video that I had posted, and I said, I don't understand how can someone push a bike as hard as that, go up to 200 miles an hour in spots, and then turn around and drop into a corner with this beautiful, beautiful view of a valley and green grass and pastures and some woods and whatever, and then rolling hills, and and stay alive and actually make it through and continue to push that bike as hard as it can. Okay, that's one reason why I watch a lot of that stuff. It is said that in order to understand the Isle and the Isle of Man TT, that you must attend it. You can't grasp what's going on really from on-bike videos or helicopter videos or shots or whatnot, and people that submit video that's added into these compilations. But yeah, it's an amazing place. So with that, I have stumbled on to some new stuff. Like, apparently there is a whole subset on YouTube of women trying on panties and stockings, and it's their reviews. They're done as reviews. But looking at the comments section, it's nothing but guys. And a lot of times, then some of the things the women will say on there after a while is pretty insane. They're not too happy with some of the comments made, so they shut off the commentary. Okay, that's one thing. But I do it for a learning thing because, like I said, I've been watching these machine shop videos, and it's basic. A lot of it is the old way, by hand and by machines that one would think don't have a fiscal gain in their shop, but they can and do. There's a machine called a shaper, a really old machine. It's very simplistic, and yet it can actually possibly make you some money now and then. But it's not a go-to. It's not like a lathe or a mill or grinders or whatever. But it's conventional. And there's one guy that's really, really interesting. He's named Mr. Pete, and he's known as the YouTube shop teacher. He was a former machine shop teacher, high school, whatever.
All right, ready. What kind of soda you like? You want a Coke or lemonade? Okay.
So, anyways, good. Mr. Pete, 222, if you want, look him up. Tublicane. Also, he also goes by that. You can look it up. You can go into YouTube and you can search for it, and he tries to explain things, and he tries to teach you some things about removing metal. And then there's a bunch of others that are just interesting to watch. Some of the things they've made and some of the projects they video and they post are just so cool. To me, they're just so cool because, how do you take sheet metal and flat stock and round stock and make a set of rudders out of stainless steel sheet and shaft and whatnot, and you do it all with mills lathes and a plasma cutter. It's great. This guy was Keith Ferner was just a pure artist on that one, just pure artistry. Some of them that are posting, they're guys that are doing repairs. Hey, Carl. And there are people that are doing restorations. They're rebuilding machines, and they're showing some of the different kind of old-fashioned tricks to restore an old 1940 Monarch lathe, or an even older lathe. I think one guy was working. I came across a guy who was working on a South Bend. I think that one was from the 40s, but then it was Keith Rucker, who picked up a really old turn of the century engine lathe and was beginning to restore and work on that. It was pretty cool. But another thing I've stepped across besides these crazy women, which I I just popped in and out, you know. And then there's the ones that sit there and they tell you about lifestyle and their lives and whatnot. It's pretty crazy. It's kind of like a little bit like what I'm doing here. I'm hoping to. I'm looking more for discussion and other things rather than just you know, telling you how much I like sorbet, but which I don't think I've ever even had. But I came across some things that are, and some videos that are more current events and that are happening in not just our country but around the world and Canada, for instance. There's been a viral video that I don't know how many people have seen it, of a guy named George Peterson. He's a professor of, he's a behavioral scientist and a psychologist and whatnot. And I don't know who this is. It looks like a Minnie Mouse. But anyways, say hello so I know who you are. He has come out against a bill by the Human Rights Commission of Canada, and it's a law but kind of not a law, because in it makes companies responsible for employees' speech, and it's this bill C-16 is there to regulate speech by demanding or ordering you to use certain pronouns, like instead of just he and she, there's z and zim and zem and zoot and whatnot. Hey, good night.
I'll be back.
Oh.
Everything.
And he's fighting it. He's a college professor, and he's fighting it on a simple premise of freedom of speech. And this is a law that is dictating speech. It's a law providing ground lines of what you can say, what you have to say. And I agree with him totally. I mean, but what makes it even more interesting is he is brilliant. And when it comes to debate, I believe I even saw a video where Ben Stein said he would be hesitant to go up against him. This guy. Or Ben Shapiro. And do you want to tag Mark Hirsch in this video? Tag. And it's awesome. I mean, this guy's brilliant. The video that went viral was of him on television with this BBC, I don't know if it's BBC or CBC, Canada Broadcasting Company, where she is really, she's a liberal, and in actuality, he admits to being, in his view, are more prevalent to being a liberal. But she's basically, literally, she's like attacking him, you know, and she's countering him, and she's trying to incite him and dig him, and he very, very calmly reverts back and points it back at her, and to the very, very point that she thinks she's cornered him on, you know, don't you think it's right that, you know, what gives you the right to say things that would hurt or harm people, and you know, and knowing that, you know, that it's hurting their feelings. And he looks, he stops and he laughs and he kind of giggles and he says, well, I mean, you know, that's one of the problems with freedom of speech, you know. Let's go Mark. It's a new feature. You know, and then he stops and he goes, well, I mean, look at what's going on here. You're exercising your freedom of speech. You're the press. You're doing what you're supporting to do. But in the same presence, you're hurting my feelings. You're making me feel extremely uncomfortable with everything you're saying to me. And yet you know, again, you have the right to do that because you're, not just because you're the press, because it's freedom of speech. And she hesitates. and then she's dumbfounded, and then she's lost, and he just smiles and says, "Gotcha," and she says, "Well, yeah," and it sort of goes downhill like that. He embarrassed the hell out of her, and he outmaneuvered her, and with all her strategy and without her attempts to get him to break or whatever, and he stuck to his guns, and he presented a coherent, logical, factual, fact-based argument. He is a clinical psychologist and behavioral therapist, and he had the studies, and he named them, and I should have wrote them down because I'd like to read these and validate them, but I mean, not just to validate them, but to actually understand them. And he's just brilliant. I mean, they're trying to say that he's saying one thing and that he's anti-woman and he's misogynist and whatever. He's like, no, it's just, I'm talking about the evidence that's out there from research and from years and years and years of 25 or more years of research alone that has come to this conclusion and continues to come to this conclusion. And it's fascinating. I mean, I like the guy. So I started watching some of his videos. I like Ben Shapiro. I mean, he's a brilliant debater. But like I said, I don't know how he would do against Jordan Peterson. This guy is the Einstein of language. This guy is just whoa, and it's beautiful. And in the process of watching some of this, I've learned some things. There are people especially in Canada, that are and a lot of them are women. That are calling themselves MRAs, which stands for men's rights activists, and they're standing up for men's rights, like the draft, which they would prefer to see it go away. But if you have to have a draft, then why don't you draft women as well? You only draft men. There are things going on in this world that only men have to do. And they've discussed the historical impact of this, and they're also pointing out how out of control and how insane women's liberation and feminism has gotten. It's now hostile. It's now a hostile environment. And the ones that are part of it, believe it or not, the ones that are really painted the target on, and you can read it in the paper, and you can read it in the news, you can see it on the news, and you can see it in their interviews and whatever, and is the white male, period. But then again, like this woman has pointed out, she's been harassed and she's been attacked and whatnot, verbally and whatnot, when she speaks or when she gets on. She has a lot of trolls online, and they're all liberals and they're all leftists. Liberals and leftists, I've come to believe and understand, are really two different things. The leftist is a lot more extreme. That's the alt left. I mean, they literally are the alt leftists, and or the alt liberal. So there's that, and then there's a new movement coming around that especially younger men are falling for and falling into, and maybe falling for is not into is not really a right phrase or terminology to use. I think maybe it's more like there's a new movement that many especially single men and younger single men are catching up to. I'm talking about 30s, 40s, and down, are joining, and it's called the MGTOW, the MGTOW, which stands for Men Going Their Own Way. And apparently there was a documentary done by a feminist that as she was doing it, and as she was doing interviews and everything, she came to the conclusion, she started to visualize or see her own racism or prejudice and whatever. I mean, it's like a guy said to her that, go outside, look at everything that men have built. And she got very, very angry inside, but she kept it down, and then she realized, she said she started to realize that, well, yeah, men have built the infrastructure, men have built the buildings, men have designed them. Primarily, men have designed them. And it's not because the industries or those jobs are closed to women. Women choose not to do them. And that's really what it comes down to. It's a matter of choice. I think there was always the question in every one of these discussions about equality, and especially Jordan Peterson wants to know what kind of equality you want, because basically, and he really supports it, is there's the equality of choice. You have a choice to do what you wish. If you want to be a carpenter or a truck driver, you can do it. You just get the proper credentials and the proper training and whatnot, you go and do it. If you want to be a CEO, understand what you're going to be giving up and go for it. He also pointed out jobs and whatnot that there's a great disparity to who does them. There's nursing. Nursing is primarily women. It requires a higher education, which is cool, but they're primarily done by women. Not all, but primarily. As a matter of fact, there was a time when any man that became a nurse or got into nursing was discriminated against and somewhat bullied over. Well, that was by his peers, but then there's engineering and whatnot, which seems to be more of a realm for men. It's more men choose to go into that field than women. You don't need to get mad. You don't need to get all huffy and whatever. You just need to look at the numbers, and that's what the facts are. It doesn't mean that women can't be an engineer. If they want to be, they can go to school and learn everything they need to know, and they can apprentice, or they can get a job and develop the experience to become it. Let me put it this way. You need to recognize the fact that when I use a word like primarily, the larger numbers, we're indicating the numbers versus men versus women. And here's where you go. If 1 out of 10 women, if 8 out of 10 nurses are female, then what do you got? Another thing that I didn't realize is that even in social media, there's a gender bias or discrepancy. It's not forced and it's not required, or it's just somehow how it worked out. But YouTube seems to be something that more men follow and watch and are involved in, and I believe it's Tinder or one of those that women are mostly in. Facebook is just a jungle. But and that's why I watch FaceTube. I'm a guy. I don't know why. I don't do Tinder. I don't know really much about it. I just do Facebook. So I think in this country and at this time, and even Jordan Peterson is really convinced me of this and shown this to me, is that this is probably one of the best times on this planet for women. Yes, things can get better, but this is probably one of the greatest times for women. We have, even without some of the laws that are wanted, we have women have a lot of opportunity and a lot of chance, and they have a choice, and that's what I think is the biggest thing about equality is choice. I agree with him on that. That if you can't choose to do something, then there is a bias and there is a prejudice. But if you can choose to do whatever you want, what's your problem? You know, so it's like, anyways, I gotta go because I got like 15% battery left. I gotta go home and get this thing charged. And I want to thank everyone that I tagged: Mark Hirsch, Mark Ames, and Tony Barazio, is it? And thank you if you were watching when I tagged you. Thank you, Barbara, for attending. My brother Carl and some of the other ones that popped in. I didn't recognize their little dot. I see this little insignificant sized dot, like no bigger than the tip of my little finger, maybe even smaller. That shows me the profile picture of whoever it is that just joined the video. So, wow, where's mine?
Told you I'll be back.
Well, where's mine?
You didn't give me money.
You didn't ask. But there you go. I mean, there you go. How could it be? I mean, let's just, I think a lot of why I've been watching some of the things is because of the Kavanaugh thing and what I saw there. And speaking of which, isn't it 2 women now that have come forward to say that they may have misrepresented themselves slightly, or I think another word for it is lied. It's just disgusting. It's just openly disgusting. So anyways, God bless you all. Join Dave and join me on my Facebook page, and join and start posting every day on your own page. What's your grateful day? Thanksgiving. The month of November is considered the month of thanks. So I'm trying right now. I'm trying to do it again. That's be the 3rd year in a row that I've done it. And I'm going to tell you, man, it's not easy. It's not easy. You got to dig some days. Find out what you're thankful for. But today was this glorious day. And so, I challenge you to do it on your own page, and when you post something, or when you say good morning, when you come on in the first thing in the morning or whatever, and you say, hey, hi, hey, we're going to have a cup of coffee, and I'm grateful for Folgers, But anyways, I want to say I love y'all. You're all God's children to me, so I love all of God's children, whether I like you or not. But it's a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful place, and God bless you all.